Welcome everybody to another Blue Bear Quilts Facebook Live. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Today I am so excited because I'm going to be announcing my very first fabric collection with QTFabrics, and I'm so excited to share it with you. It's called Cocoa Chic, and it's inspired by the 1920s. So let me tell you a little bit about how this fabric collection came to be. Last year I thought it's going to be the 20s, and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to have some fabric that's reminiscent of the 1920s? And so I talked to the creative manager at QTFabrics and said, I'd like to do a collection of 1920s fabrics. And the amazing thing about QTFabrics is that they have descended from the oldest mill in the United States. And they have archives that go back to the 1800s. So they definitely had a whole bunch of fabrics from the 1920s. So the creative manager took photos of hundreds of antique fabrics from the 1920s and sent them to me. And I went through them and I picked out the ones that I was interested in. And I probably picked hundreds of them. And of course, the creative manager said, Reed, you can't have hundreds of fabrics, in your collection. And so we ultimately agreed upon 17 different fabrics. There are lights, there are darks, there are big scale prints, small scale prints, and they definitely are derived from authentic 1920 fabrics. Now they're slightly different because we took some elements from one particular fabric and put it in another fabric. We maybe took colors from one and put it in another one. And we also tried to pick some colors that were a little bit more modern. So although these are not actually authentic 1920s fabrics, they are definitely inspired by them. So let's get started and I will show you some of the fabrics. This first one is a beautiful maroon, and it has these lovely little flowers that have a yellow center, pink, black, there's a light blue, and then you can see there's these little geographic circles, interesting little circles in the fabric. And this is probably a small to medium scale print. And be sure to give me lots of love when you're watching the video. If you like it, give lots of likes and thumbs up. And if you'd share this video with your friends, I'd really appreciate it. Then another fabric that's very similar to the last one, but in a different colorway, is a black one. And it has those same little flowers in it. And this time the circles are kind of a light gray. And then we have a black that has little tiny squares and dots, and the dots are white, and some of them are red, and that mustardy yellow, and there's a light purple. And then a similar fabric to that one is also done in white. And again, you can see it has those little kind of rusty orange and black squares and light gray dots, yellow dots. Then this is a really interesting print. I fell in love with this one. And this is basically a darker purple and a light purple. Can't you just see like some clothes or handbags made with this particular fabric?
Charlotte and Kathy.
And another fabric that's in that same line is this one is kind of a black and a reddish rusty orange color with some light gray in it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and state them here. I can't see the, I'm not looking at like the selfie side of the camera, so I don't see it. But if you have some questions, my cameraman will let me know and I'll be sure to answer them for you.
Hi to Kathy, Charlotte, and Kelly.
So I'd like to say hi to Kelly and Charlotte and Kathy. So this is a lovely background fabric. This one is kind of a cream color that has like very light gray dots and very light golden dots. Definitely a beautiful background fabric. And similar to that fabric is one in a very light kind of lavender or grape color, and it has those reddish rusty dots and darker purple dots and very light gray lines running throughout it. And one more fabric that's in that same line is this one, which is a light gray, kind of a medium gray. And it has darker gray dots and light purple dots and very fine, kind of like cream colored lines running through it. It almost looks like stitching. And then I'll show you the selvage. I'm very excited about that part, where it says that it's done by Blue Bear Quilts, and it's so exciting. Then we have this lovely, lovely kind of a mustardy yellow color, and it has tiny red rust color dots forming the square. There are white dots in between and kind of a very light purple line in the center of the square. And this is probably a small scale print. And then another fabric in a different colorway is this blue one. And it has, again, those same light purple lines going through the center of the square with the white dots and light little tiny dots forming the squares. Another small scale print. Then I was looking at this one the other day, and it reminded me of something that my grandfather might have worn. He definitely would have been alive in the 1920s, and I don't know why, but for some reason this fabric just struck me as something like a shirt that my grandfather might have worn. So it is a very small scale print. It has tiny little squares or diamonds that are light purple, and then there are little hash marks that are probably a light gray against a cream colored background. Then these are really interesting prints. Probably these are medium scale. And this one is a light blue with darker blue and kind of pinkish or purple small rectangles with white lines in between. And these circles are a dark gray. But I think this fabric kind of screams 1920s, don't you? And here's that same fabric in a black. And the background is black, and then there are light gray circles and light gray rectangles with the dots. Are you able to see that one? And then this is one of my favorites. This is that same fabric in a rust color. And so it has the rust background with kind of cream colored lines running through it and darker colored rust rectangles and gray rectangles, and the circles are also done in gray. And this one is probably my favorite. This one would be a large scale print. And it has those beautiful flowers again in the center of a cream colored circle. There are those rust colored rectangles and light gray rectangles, and the lines are kind of a dark gray. And I can just imagine this particular fabric with this particular fabric making a handbag. Don't those two really go well together? And then this is a multi-piece crazy quilt fabric that basically has all of the different fabrics that are in the collection, plus some that are not in the collection. It's a really, really interesting piece of fabric. This particular one would make great borders on quilts using this fabric. It would make a great backing, and also I think it's a really interesting fabric to be making bags or clothing out of. So I've just received the fabric, so I don't actually have any quilts made yet, but if you but I do have some photos of quilts that I can show you. So my quilts were kind of inspired by movie stars from the 1920s. The first one is called Zany Zazu, and she was a silent film star in the 1920s, and so that's what the Zany Zazu quilt looks like. And then the other quilt pattern I've designed is named after Greta Garbo, and this one is called Glorious Garbo. And that is Coco Chic, everyone. I hope you like it as much as I do. It is in the process of being ordered right now through QTFabrics. The ordering will go through October of 2020. And it will be shipping to stores in January of 2021. I hope you're as excited about it as I am, and if you'd like to work with this fabric, please ask your favorite quilt shop or fabric store to order this fabric. Coco Chic from QTFabrics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.